Welcome back to the channel, ladies and gentlemen. Today we are going to discuss, will Bitcoin reach 100K in 2022? What do you think? Do you think December of 2022 that Bitcoin will reach $100,000 or 100K? You let me know down in the comments. 100% I think it's possible, and I'm going to show you proof that it's possible in this video. But there's two fundamental factors that we have to consider as cryptocurrency investors and we have to be aware of. Now, I want to tell you right now, I believe that this technology is incredible. I am biased when it comes to cryptocurrency. I'm biased when it comes to Bitcoin. No question about it. I am biased. And I believe this technology is going to change the world. So nothing that I say in here should be considered as financial advice. I believe, and I'm going to do a video about this here soon, about that Bitcoin's going to reach $1 million. And I believe the cryptocurrency space is going to create more millionaires than any other technology or financial instrument of any kind or financial development of any kind has ever created in the history of the world. I genuinely believe that. Now, if you believe that, do me a favor and smash that like button. If you want to believe that, hit that like button. And if you want to understand why I believe that, then of course, make sure that you subscribe and click that bell notification icon and click all. Right now, cryptocurrency is in the most bullish position it's ever been in from a fundamental standpoint. We've got more people than ever talking about this technology. That's why I'm saying that it can reach this is some of the fundamentals of why it can reach $100,000 by the end of 2022. And then we'll look at the price charts, and then we're going to talk about two negative factors you need to be aware of. So first of all, I mean, you've got large companies, you've got countries investing in Bitcoin. I mean, just 2 years ago, 3 years ago, this is the kind of things that we could have only wished for, hoped for back then. So I truly believe that there's a lot of awareness that is happening. There's a lot of people that believe in the technology as either a financial instrument, some sort of financial hedge, or even an electronic store of value. More people than ever are looking at cryptocurrency for that. Plus, of course, you're talking about all the stuff that's happening in DeFi and the metaverse space, and all that stuff is going on as well. Blockchain is incredible, and Bitcoin is really just a small part of that. But Bitcoin serves the largest use case, and that is some sort of a financial instrument, decentralized financial instrument. We have countries looking at setting up their own central bank digital dollars. Fundamentally, those are set up to compete with Bitcoin, but it is possible in the short term that this ends up being a net positive because you're going to have a lot of people using some sort of a blockchain. In some case, they're going to have some sort of a wallet. They're going to be able to send electronic currency from one wallet to the other. And I think that that is going to be good because it's going to introduce people to a part of this technology, and it's going to increase awareness for the public. The public being more aware of this technology, what this technology is for, and why it's actually good outside of just price speculation. I mean, if you understand the technology and why this is revolutionary, and more people become aware of that fact, then I think that that's ultimately very, very bullish for Bitcoin. And I think that outside of the two factors I'm going to discuss, I don't think there's any way that it doesn't reach $100,000 or $200,000 or $250,000 next year. But I want to show you this before I go into those two factors. If you just look at the price movement of Bitcoin, this is over 1 year. So a year ago, Bitcoin was at $18,000. Right now, we're at $48,000. You're talking about more than 100% increase, even though we're off all-time highs. If you go to all-time highs, right, you're talking about over a 300% increase. But also look during the year how much price movement on a percentage basis. We went from down here, 18,000 up to 63,000. We went from 63,000 all the way down to 32,000. So you're talking about basically a 50% drop in the first part of the year. And then went from 32,000 all the way up to 66,000, basically 100% gain off of 32,000. So you're seeing significant movements, 50% price movements, more than once throughout the past 12 months. To break out and go to $100,000 with the awareness is happening, with companies continuing to buy Bitcoin, I mean, more people than ever are talking about it. I'm getting more people asking about it. I think seeing, a price move of Bitcoin up to $100,000 is absolutely possible. In fact, you may be saying, yes, but Wealth, you're talking about it going up to brand new all-time highs. When has Bitcoin done that? Well, if you're not aware of it, let's come over here to all time. If you come look over here at 2016, we were at, what is that? Right here, 1,017. we were at 15,000. That's a significant move. And 18, we were down. I'm sorry, from 18, we were up from somewhere around 3,000, 4,000, up to about 8,000. I'm just looking roughly here. I'm on CoinMarketCap, so I'm not looking at strict charting. I'm just showing you that whenever it breaks out and moves up, it moves significantly. I mean, from 2019 to 2020 over here, or 21, whatever, $23,000 move from like 9,000. So historically, it's been able to break way up. In fact, every time there's been a move up, so far, it's gone up way more than 100% for the most part. And I believe with the awareness that we have, that it's most likely to be a bullish year. We're most likely to see all-time highs, and we can see all-time highs even higher than 100K. But the two factors that you have to be aware of right now, because you're talking about within the next year. So for me, within inside of a year, you're talking about a short-term time frame, even maybe short-term to medium. For me, short-term is really less than a year. Long term for me is you're talking about like a year to 3. I mean, medium is a year to maybe 3 years tops. Long term is anything over 3 years, at least for the purpose of this video. So in the short term, for some people, they would say the short to medium term, these two factors are incredibly important. Now, long term, I actually think these factors almost don't even matter at all. But in the short term, we've got record inflation coming. Inflation near 40-year high shocks Americans, spooks Washington. This part is crazy to me. Those of us in cryptocurrency, those of us that understand this technology, we understand why Bitcoin was created, was that it couldn't be a financial instrument that was inflated. You understand inflation occurs because government prints money. They create money essentially out of thin air. And when they create money out of thin air, it can wreck the best case scenario. It devalues the savings that you have and the savings that your grandparents have. Worst case scenario, it can wreck the economy and ultimately make people really poor. And it can just totally wreck the economy. And we're seeing record inflation right now. So this has got to play out in 2022. And I actually think that we're going to see inflation go up even a little bit higher than it is right now. I don't think this is the worst. But right here, this is a recent article in Yahoo Finance. Already hot inflation is forecasted to climb even higher when November data comes out on Friday. 6.8%. That is crazy, 6.8%. That would be the highest rate since Ronald Reagan was president in the early 1980s in the lifetime of most Americans. Higher prices help deliver a banner year for U.S. businesses, which is posting its fattest profit margin since the 1950s. By the way, this is kind of irrelevant to the article for the most part because the effects of inflation only happens after the inflation, and we're really starting to get into some significant inflation that could affect businesses negatively. So, of course, just because businesses are doing pretty good profit margin-wise right now doesn't mean that they're going to continue to do well in a higher inflationary environment. But for Joe Biden's administration and Jerome Powell's Federal Reserve, which didn't see it coming, the sudden return of inflation, largely dormant for decades before 2021, is looking increasingly traumatic. That is just nuts to me that somebody is writing the term that the President of the United States and the Federal Reserve, literally the two most powerful, bodies when it comes to our finances, or two of the most powerful figures when it comes to U.S. policy and U.S. finances, or U.S. financial policy, I should say. They're saying that the current economy is looking increasingly traumatic. Now, for those of you that believe in cryptocurrency and believe in the fundamentals of Bitcoin, you're like, yeah, but high inflation should be good. Well, bear with me. I'll get to that. Here's the other part that scared me. For Joe Biden's administration and Jerome Powell's Federal Reserve, which didn't see it coming, the sudden return of inflation, largely dormant for decades. What do you mean they didn't see it coming? I saw it coming. Those of you that are subscribers to this channel, you know I saw it coming because I was talking about it when they were putting out the stimulus checks. A lot of people in crypto saw that it was coming. We said it. A buddy of mine who's a high-powered accountant, I said, man, what do you think about printing money? What are you thinking about inflation? He said, I think it's short-term, just transitory. Just transitory. I said, what do you mean it's just transitory? What are you talking about? Yeah, I don't think it's going to last. Which he was just watching the news, buying into it. He wasn't, it's unfortunate, but I don't understand how you couldn't understand. I guess, what can I say? I guess our own president didn't see it. I guess Jerome Powell didn't know it was going to happen either. I mean, that's mind-numbing to me. And I'm telling you, 2022, if I had to bet anything, it's that we're going to see even higher inflation in 2022. Now, maybe they get a handle on the inflation. In order to get a handle on inflation, they've got to get money out of the system. Typically, that's going to be done by raising taxes, which has to happen if you want to slow inflation in most cases or in many cases. Or they're going to have to raise interest rates, make it more expensive to borrow money. Now, why would they not do that right now when inflation is so high? Because if they raise taxes, it's going to hurt the economy and it's bad for policy. No president likes to have to raise taxes significantly, especially if he's going to try to run for re-election. Most of the time they do that in their second term. As well as if they raise interest rates, it's going to hurt the economy as well. Companies aren't able to borrow money. Most companies live and die. Large companies live and die off of the ability to finance. So if it becomes very expensive to borrow money, then they're not going to borrow as much money. And that could be bad for the economy. In 2022, it's going to depend on what happens with inflation, because I believe that the economy may be headed for a dip in the coming year. Now, I'm glad that I own cryptocurrency because long term, I think it's really good. But in the short term right now, it's important to understand most people are in this space trying to get rich quick. They are using money and investing money they have no business investing. Money that they need in many cases. But they're literally looking at the crypto market as just some sort of a casino, if you will. They're not dollar cost averaging using sound financial principles. They're not, diversifying their portfolio. Of course, if you're watching this channel, hopefully you are. And therefore, when the stock market dips, or for some reason the stock market dips and their employer lays people off, including them, if that happens, then oftentimes they're going to sell crypto because they're fearful. They're going to sell crypto because they need money to pay bills. And by the way, this is why I'm a fan of passive cryptocurrency investments. Because if you have to sell some, it's easier to sell returns that you're earning. But you can't, Bitcoin, you don't earn Bitcoin passively for the most part. You can earn some passive Bitcoin. Okay, I'll get to that a little bit later in the video. But I've got a free resource. If you want to earn some Bitcoin or you're trying to find ways to earn more Bitcoin, I got a free resource I can share with you. However, my point is that if we have a weak 2022, if inflation continues to increase, that could hold back the price of Bitcoin, because all the people that are just here speculating on price, trying to get rich quick, they're going to sell some Bitcoin. They're going to sell some crypto, and you're going to have a lot of people doing that, and it could cause price dip. So that's the number one factor that we need to be careful for. Number two factor that could prevent Bitcoin from reaching 100K by the end of 2022 is new regulations. Now, I actually said this last year, and it's interesting. We have some new regulations right now. They're not very good, and a lot of CEOs of cryptocurrency companies are getting nervous. It's unfortunate. I was hoping last year we would see this sort of thing happening, but we just had several crypto CEOs, including the CEO of FTX, go to Washington. They're pushing back against some of the crackdown, and they're doing it in a way that is smart. They're saying, hey, we need regulations. We need government oversight in this space. That's a good thing, but the way you're doing it is a bad thing. And that's kind of that's normally how you see people talk to the government, if you will. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. Some people have proposed some very stringent rules and regulations, and some governments have tried to outright ban crypto. Now, I don't think I'm going to back off of this. Last year, I thought that we ran the risk of having crypto banned in the U.S. I feel like I went from feeling like it could happen by a factor of about 60% that it would happen. I think that I'm down to about 45% that it could happen. I still believe it could happen. Now, people tell me, yes, but there's a lot of big financing in crypto. There's really not compared to the overall financial markets. If you look at the amount of companies that own Bitcoin, including like Grayscale and whatever, you look at their total holdings versus these brokers and stuff on the Chicago Board of Trade and the commodities and the NASDAQ and Dow Jones, and you look at the size of those markets, crypto is still really, really small. It's growing. Don't get me wrong. The big financial players in crypto are definitely growing, no question about it. And I think long term it's going to grow even more. But right now, at this moment, I also think there's some powerful financial lobbyists that work for JP Morgan and some of those guys that really would prefer not to have to deal with crypto. Now, a lot of people will say things are like, "Oh, Bank of America is getting into crypto game. Oh, Visa is getting into crypto game." But you need to understand that all of these are companies of opportunities. They're not going to let technology leave them behind. But it doesn't mean that they want things to change. They've been comfortable making money for a long time in a closed system. And cryptocurrency is less closed. But those same companies are fighting for government regulations that could make it much more difficult for Americans to buy, own, and transact with crypto. Now, we're not the only market in the world, but by far we're one of the largest markets in the cryptocurrency space. So government regulations could affect crypto negatively in 2022, although I'm more optimistic now than I was last year this time, but we'll just have to see. So 2 factors to be aware of. How does inflation, and I'll continue to monitor this on my channel, so you can definitely subscribe and follow me, and I'll continue to talk about this from time to time. But how is inflation going to affect the cryptocurrency markets, and how are coming regulations going to affect the cryptocurrency markets? Now, I want to reiterate this. I am very bullish on crypto by and large. I believe the ability to earn financial wealth exists. The greatest opportunity exists in being here early. That's also the risk. Nothing in this video should be considered financial advice, so please don't take it as that. I am giving you my personal opinions as one person, one human, and I have investments outside of the cryptocurrency space as well. But this is my favorite space to talk about. It is my favorite space to be in from a financial perspective because I truly believe in what this technology offers. You're talking about people being able to have freedom with their finances in a way that they never have in the history of the world. Now, if you want to learn, if you're getting started with cryptocurrency, you want to learn, like, how can I make some passive income? What can I do? You can go down in our newsletter down below, and you can subscribe to our Crypto Passive Profits newsletter. My newsletter subscribers, I recently put out a video talking about one of my better investments that I haven't discussed on this channel. And I'll put that video above if you want to watch it. It was about the Drip Network. But the reality is my newsletter subscribers found out about that several days first. Also, if you subscribe to our Crypto Passive Profits newsletter, you'll find out about, neat little tools like the CryptoTab browser. So this is a CryptoTab browser. I've actually, over the past 2 or 3 years, just surfing the internet, I pulled in a total of, $7,176 worth of Bitcoin over the past 3 years or so, just by surfing the internet. So there's so many vehicles, there's so many things out there in the cryptocurrency space that people aren't aware of. I've got a video coming up or a video series that I'm thinking about putting together. If this is something that you want to know more about, let me know down in the comments. But I'm thinking about putting together a video series on the different ways that I believe that you can become a millionaire, different strategies that I think that you can use, average people could use to become a millionaire in the cryptocurrency space. If you want to know more about that, let me know down in the comments. Ladies and gentlemen, if you've liked this video and you like this kind of content, do me a favor and smash that like button. Hit that subscribe button, click the bell notification icon, and click all. Hey, thank you so much for watching. It is an honor to be on this journey with you. Decentralized cryptocurrency equals freedom. This is Crypto Wealth. I'm out.